But we thought we'd talk a little Browns today and just kind of put a bow on the hiring of Monken and maybe speculate a little bit on some of the coaches he may want to bring in to round out his staff. And then I saw Chris's story, and I said, hey, he's got a mock draft in there. I think I want to read this. And I took a look at it, and I said, hey, I think I want to talk about this. And that's what we're going to do. Chris Easterling, let's bring him in from the Akron Beacon Journal here on the Sam Bourquin Show, AM 1310 WDPN. Chris, how you doing, bud?
Not too bad. I want to talk about this 545 tip. Well, then they never did that when I was covering them. I never got that type of. Hey, we'll get you out of here at a cool 7 o'clock.
I knew that would anger you if I brought that tip time up today. So so the JV game is going to go at 4:30, and the varsity is going to tip at 5:45, 5:50ish. And
why?
Do
I want to know? Do I want? Can't these guys play nice?
By you just answered your own question by saying, "Do I want to know?" That's why.
Is it along the lines of what with McKinley and Glen Oak?
Yes.
Well, of course it is.
Yes.
Grow up. I caught myself. I would have caught you with an FCC violation there. Grow up. It's high school sports. I mean, I know with the rivalry and all that, blah, blah, blah. But you can't be in the same gym for an hour and a half to 2 hours without, having to get all, up and, act like your manhood's getting sorry.
It's all right. You were around. Hey, you were on that beat for football for how many years?
I was in for both football and basketball.
Yeah,
I know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And look, I love the rivalry's great. I love rivalries. I love the tradition and the passion that goes with it. But there's passion and then there's stupidity. And if you're throwing down over, if you're going to throw hands over what a bunch of teenagers do, check yourself, maybe check your priorities in life, because there's a lot. Look around. There's a lot more important things in the world to get angry about.
Yeah. Well, the bad thing is, Chris, it's more the kids. It's the students and kids from outside of the schools.
Catch my tongue. We'll be careful about going there.
Yeah, right. So they're going to start it early. And the crazy thing is, and I had a conversation last night with some other media folks. Neither team has school on Friday. So we're all sitting there going, well, why don't we just play this baby at noon? Come on out. Let's watch some hoops at noon and be done for the day. But
they did it on New Year's Eve a couple of years ago at the field house.
They did. They played at 2 o'clock or something.
I mean, that's great. A little matinee basketball.
Yeah.
Again, things they never did when I was covering them.
Yeah. So it'll be good, though, because I'm sure you follow a little bit. I mean, this is one of Massillon's best teams they've had in the history of the school. They're 16-1. They're really good. And McKinley,
this is, I think I heard this was the group. I think you could hear about you. This group was coming up, if I can remember, like my last couple of years in Massillon working.
Yep.
You heard about. I think this is the group that they've been talking about. That they won a bunch of stuff and a bunch of tournaments and everything, and they were sort of pointing to as this was the class that could really, back to be like the 03 team.
Yes.
Which. Or even, 06, that team, remember that team? I mean, the second best team in the state behind, the team 8 miles to the east that hung its second banner.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Massillon was really good that year, too. Massillon's had some good,
it's underrated. It's amazing. I never understood why people it was so underrated for basketball and a lot. Now granted, some of the product, there were years where they weren't as good, but
sure.
I mean, this is what everybody tuned in to listen to me to talk
Well, you'd be surprised. I'll get a comment. Hey, I enjoyed your talking about that more than you did talking about the Browns. I can see that coming up here
Oh, I
tomorrow.
do too.
So let's just keep talking. No, but this should be a lot of fun on Friday, and we're looking forward to it, and we'll see what happens there. So the Browns, to kind of put a bow on the Todd Monken hiring and look ahead to maybe who he will be bringing on his staff. It seems like I don't know, a pretty good amount of people that were like a little I don't know about this have kind of come around here the last couple of days, and they like what they hear from Todd. They like what they see. They like his expressions when he answers questions from reporters, and I think everybody would seem to be on board. Do you get that kind of vibe too?
I sort of had this opinion. Yeah, I do. I thought you could start to see the change about 24 hours after the hire was first announced.
Okay.
Look, if he's 20 years younger, not 20, but let's go 15. If he's 15 years younger, isn't he exactly what everybody was begging for?
Yeah.
The innovative offensive mind that works great with quarterbacks, that has shown that, he's got a track record. Lamar Jackson, Jameis Winston, Baker's best passing year was with Todd. He was with Cleveland, I should say.
Right.
Was with Todd. He turned Stetson Bennett IV into a 2-time national champion. I mean, look what he did with tight ends. I mean, with Andrews and Likely in Baltimore, and Brock Bowers when he was at UGA, and Njoku at 19. I mean, you can go on and on. I mean, everything about him says this is what you wanted. He's just 50, he's 60 instead of 40.
Yeah.
And so
I think you're right. I think they look at that and they go, and you're right. I think if he's 44 or 48 or something,
you're looking at this completely different. But he's got a lot of now. Is it still? I've said all along, whoever they hired, I mean, they could have hired. They could have had a seance and brought Paul Brown's ghost back to coach the team.
Right.
It's not going to matter if the roster's not good, and that's the key. Whoever they hire, this is now where the guy who managed to keep his job somehow, because he signed Malik Collins and figured out, found a kicker, which were legitimate reasons given by the ownership group why Andrew Berry didn't go with Kevin. He's got to help his coach. He's got to go get receivers. He's got to go get offensive help. I'm not worried about the defense. I think the defense is going to be fine. I think they're going to supplement what they need to supplement there, and I think they're going to hire a good defensive coordinator, or they're going to hire somebody who knows what to do with 95. I mean, let's be honest. That's what it comes down to, but that's what it's about now. It's about personnel. I mean, Todd Monken's highly regarded across the league as an offensive mind. He can solve the problem that everybody's talking with this team the last few years, which is offense. But he's got to, he's got to have the groceries to make the meal. So to speak.
You got to be able to cook. A lot of people have also asked me why Todd Monken, how and why is this his first head coaching job in the NFL? And I'm like, well, I don't really know. I mean, did he go after some other jobs? Did he make it close and wasn't picked? Did he not have interest in other places? He was happy with what he was doing. Any insight on that at all?
Well, he was the runner-up to Matt LaFleur in Green Bay.
Okay.
I mean, when they hired Matt LaFleur, Todd Monken was second. Monken got coming off of, I think in the 24, coming out of the 24 season when Lamar should have won a second consecutive, gone back-to-back as MVPs. I think he was up for a couple of jobs. He also, let's be honest, he got a late start on really being NFL centric. He didn't get his first coordinator job in the league until 2016 in Tampa. And then, he goes Tampa for a couple of years. He goes to Cleveland for a year, 2016, 2017, something like that. Then he goes to Cleveland for a year, and then he goes back to Georgia. Now, by that point, he's sort of known, but the large part of his bulk of his early career, save for a time in Jacksonville, was in college.
Yeah.
Where he was the head coach, and then he leaves Southern Miss to go to Tampa Bay, and that's where he sort of really solidified himself as I'm an NFL guy. So I think again, some of it's just, it's like me getting this job. I spent 25 years. Why did it take me 25 years to get where I am now?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, just it's the way things happen, and I think that's just the way his career played out. That he didn't get more head coaching opportunities earlier, NFL opportunities earlier in his career.
Chris Easterling is our guest from the Akron Beacon Journal, talking little Browns here on the Sam Bourquin Show, 1310 WDPN. I went back and I watched a little bit of his press conference and some other interviews that he had done up in Cleveland. And this is a guy that, to me, it looks like he is beyond thankful, beyond ready. It sounded, well, he said it as so. He says, I never thought this day was going to come. So from that point, emotionally and just watching his moves, it looks like this guy is like, he will be more than ready to go all in and do his job here, because he's been waiting on it, and he is happy and accepting, and I think that's a big plus too.
He is going to do everything he can. I mean, you're exactly right. Genuine is the way I would describe Todd Monken. I would describe Todd Monken as genuine, and that's, I think that's something you hear about with the way he interacts with players. It's a genuine, it's the real him. And I'm not saying you didn't get that from Kevin either. I mean, Kevin, one thing that players said is that he's tried to establish relationships, personal relations with them. Monken's going to connect with the players. I have no doubts. And you're going to get the real Todd Monken, which, I mean, it can be rough at times. Now it's, but I think you're going to get the real thing.
Chris, let's go into this mock draft, and I'm just going to kind of hop around it here a little bit. Obviously, the biggest interest to me are the first two selections in number 1, and then the number 4 I want to get to. But
and I got the fences for the number 4. I know who I picked there. I got the fences.
I like the tackle out of Miami of Florida, number 1. I joked around a couple of weeks ago. I said if I was in charge of all these picks, I would go O-line like the first 5 of them. And I'd probably get fired over it, but I wouldn't care, because I'm a firm believer in building this baby. Remember, Sam Bourquin says, give me 5 condominiums up front. I'll fill in the rest of everything else. What do we know about this Francis Magoa? Mayuga, I know I'm pronouncing it wrong, for Miami of Florida. And then we'll get to the other selection, a wide receiver out of A&M. But you're the first 2 in that mock. Tell us about those 2.
Francis is tackle, although they're, and this is just modern football now.
Sure.
Yeah, you're going to hear talks about moving him inside the guard. I don't care. He's a guy you need to. I don't think the tackle class is as deep in terms of guys who can potentially hit big. And I think he's one of the guys, though, that can hit big. That's why I went tackle, wide receiver. Well, I've done that the last 3 mocks I've done compared to the first one when I went Carnell Tate at 6. But, he's big, strong. He's everything you want in an offensive lineman. Whether that's guard, tackle, tackle right now. I think they're going to, and then you see what you can do. Excuse me. Casey Concepcion is just a playmaker. I mean, Casey Concepcion is just, and he can solve multiple problems because he's also a great punt returner. And God knows this team has struggled at that position since Eric Metcalf. So,
yeah.
So you get two playmakers because I think it's a deeper wide receiver group. So you can get a high quality wide receiver at 24, a lot more than you can get, I think, a high quality tackle at 24. Caden Proctor out of Alabama aside, and I'm not 100% a Caden Proctor fan. Mm-hmm. But you mentioned getting offensive linemen. You look at that draft, the mock I did, I went 2 tackles in the first 3 picks. I picked a center.
Yep.
The last few, I think this is a draft where I think there's some quality linemen maybe you can get in day 2 even. Maybe even dipping into day 3 early. And you just have so many holes on that line that you have to fill. This is a place to fill them reasonably inexpensive without going out and, I think they're going to try to get a big time wide receiver. I think wide receiver, the more I've sort of gone back and forth with this, I think wide receiver is the position that if they spend anything in free agency, it's or trades, I think it's going to be at the wide receiver position. I think they want to develop the offensive line. That's why you hired George Warhop as your offensive line coach.
I like this kid out of Georgia, and the reason is, 6'4", 6'5" dudes at high 200s or low 3 weight are good. I love a guy, and he's listed at 6'7", 315. I love that. I love that in an offensive lineman in the NFL, the young Monroe Freeling out of Georgia. Chris, just 6'7" is a huge individual, but 315 on a 6'7" frame, agile, good footwork. He's not fat. I think this. I hope we get this kid.
No, and you know what? You couple him with the pick at 6, who I haven't taken in 6, and I think you got a little flexibility there. Mm-hmm. If Mayuga is, I apologize, I butchered that. I will learn the pronunciation. I only have to type it out.
Yeah.
If he doesn't hit at tackle, well, you have Freeling here who could hit a tackle. You slide, and hey, there's your left side of your offensive line for the next insert number of years.
Yeah, sure.
So that's why I think they take multiple bites at the apple this draft at trying to get guys for receiver, offensive line, specifically offensive line, but also wide receiver and even tight end because again. David Njoku leaving and you need somebody beyond Harold to be at that position because that's what Todd Monken does in his offense.
Chris Easterling, our guest. We're breaking the Browns down here. He does a great job covering the Browns from the Akron Beacon Journal. Check him out on all of his social media platforms. Chris, I want to go right to, round 3, you've got Connor Lew, the center out of Auburn. And then round number 4 comes rolling around, 107.
Best player available.
I know.
They're taking a quarterback this draft. He was the best one available.
Yeah.
And Monken has a connection with him. That's the only reason why he appears on. There's a certain fascination I do have with this guy because it could be. It depends on the odd or even second, odd or even day of the week, whether I sort of see it there or sort of go no.
Yeah, and we're talking about Carson Beck, the quarterback out of Miami, Florida. Whoever it is, Chris, in all the draft picks that we have in the 7 rounds, do you think the Browns will take a shot on somebody at the quarterback spot?
Yes, okay. I do.
More than
what? More than one? No.
Okay.
They did that last year. We saw how that went.
Well, I had to ask,
I mean, look, I don't know if Andrew Berry is this belief. We can talk to him in a couple of weeks at the combine, and I plan on asking him this. But Mike Holmgren famously was like, "You take a quarterback every year."
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, it's the most important position in sports, and I'm a firm believer is you can't wait until you know whether a guy is your guy.
Right.
I think you have to, I if Garrett, I debated Garrett Nussmeier, earlier in that, one mock I did have Nussmeier as a pick. Ty Simpson, I mean, take a flyer day 2 on a quarterback and Nussmeier as Simpson, we'll see who emerges out of this, because you don't have that answer on the. I mean, there were things to like out of Shedeur, but there are plenty of things that Shedeur still needs to work on. How much of it is Shedeur growth? How much of it is Oster? I'm not getting an argument right now. It's February.
Sure.
We'll have plenty of time the next 11 months.
Yeah. When is the combine, Chris? 2 weeks?
Yes, I got 1 week at home, and then 1 week. The week after that, I'm in Indianapolis. So
Okay.
yeah, I got to go to Indianapolis the 23rd, 24th. That's typically that Tuesday's typically when Andrew Berry talks.
Mm-hmm.
Then the players, as well as typically we've gotten Kevin back then when it was Kevin. I don't know with Todd, but typically the Browns coaches talked on Wednesday, and then the players for the rest of the week. So
very good. Well, that's the next big thing coming up that we'll be paying attention to. Maybe we'll ring you after the combine and see what you saw, and maybe some of the scuttlebutt that you heard from some of the higher ups with the organization. That'll be the next time I reach out to you and bug you, if that's all right.
I am always willing to be bugged by you, Sammy.
I
have not forgotten from where I come.
Hey, we're not that far away. At least geographically.
You're in Alliance right now, right?
That's where I'm at now. I'm in Alliance.
Let me tell you, as somebody who used to have to go beyond Alliance multiple times a year for athletic events when I was in high school to go to West Branch.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Good old, yeah, we're not that far from Beloit here.
Beloit seemed like a million miles away.
Well, I'm going to tell you what. This is how slow to the party I am. First of all, when I came over here to the station, of course, we're paired up with the Q92 on the FM, so we're under the same family here. And so this year I come over to start doing my show at the end of April, and we worked out a thing where I would do the EBC conference football games on radio this year, and that's going to change next year. But so I did a lot of Alliance, West Branch, Marlington. I had never done a game in West Branch in my life, ever. Great teams. They won a state championship. I mean,
my state championship was my senior year.
Yeah, and that was right?
What?
It was over Paul Brown, right? They beat Clyde. I think
Clyde. Yeah, they had a great comeback against Steubenville in the state.
Yes, at Fawcett.
Fawcett, and they the highlight of my high school career is I was wide open in the end zone, and I got underthrown by 5 yards for an interception. We could have been down 14-6 at halftime.
Yeah.
We got beat by 40, but be that as it may.
That's all right. So I'm leaving my house because I get to the stadiums at about 2. I set up. I start the show at 3. Take a 10-minute break, and then we do the play-by-play of the game. So I leave my house at 1. For some reason, I thought I was going to get to Beloit in 20 minutes. Nope. But I just kept going, and I said, "What? Where in the hell am I? Oh, I'm in Mahoning County now." And I kept going and kept going, and finally, I made it, and I was there. And then I looked at my mile thing, and I said, "Whoa, I was about 25 miles off there." I'd never been there in my life. I thought I should have left the house a lot earlier. So I kind of learned the hard way there, but it was fun.
Quick story. When I was in high school, obviously we went to West Branch, went to Carrollton.
Yeah.
And we made the Carrollton trip out like we were going to a foreign country. I mean, we got charter buses. We were playing at the old fairgrounds, so we dressed at the high school, and then in the locker room at the fairgrounds was the horse barn underneath.
Yep.
And then you come to find out it's just as far to go to West Branch as it is to go to Carrollton from Canal Fulton.
Yep.
And it's like, and sometimes it's just as miserable when you're getting beaten 70-6 by West Branch. The trip's even longer to come back from.
You're almost wishing you never made the trip in the first place.
Well, yeah, I had plenty of times.
Chris, always good to catch up, man. Enjoy the trip over to Indy, and we'll check up with you around during or a little bit after the combine. All right.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Sammy.
There he goes. Chris Easterling for the Akron Beacon Journal, beat writer for the Cleveland Browns. That's the pride of Northwest High School right there, Mr. Easterling.